𝕸𝖆𝖗𝖘𝖍𝖆𝖑𝖑 we are off!
Hello guys, wanna know something cool? My ear's clogged. I basically want to die because I can't enjoy music in the same way I used to do 2 days ago. So now I'm making a video about cover songs so I can find a silver lining to all of this. Picture this. You're checking out the tracklist of a new album that just came out, or even just one that you're gonna listen for the first time. And while you are reading the names, you find something strange. A name that is just a little too familiar. And then it hits you. It's a cover. What is your reaction? Mine is usually, oh my god. Covering a song is often incredibly tricky. When a song has a pre-existing legacy, you have to do your best to not accidentally stab the song in the heart. And it's kinda hard to tell what exactly makes a cover good or bad. In fact, there is no exact formula. It mostly just depends on how the artist handles the material it's working with. And the line between, oh my god, this is magical, and interesting. Being deaf sounds so appealing right now. Is very fine. And a huge quantity of artists don't know how to cross it properly, resulting in covers being very polarizing in the music industry. One of the most infamous covers I can think of was done by Limp Bizkit. I know you probably think I'm talking about their cover of Behind Blue Eyes, but I honestly don't have many problems with that one. Now, on the other hand, in their very first album, they did a cover of George Michael's Faith. How did it turn out?
Whoa! This is worthless.
It's less than worthless, my boy.
Yeah, you don't need to have an Albert Einstein level of IQ to understand this cover is plain garbage. But what exactly makes a cover bad or good? To be honest, the answer isn't very concrete. It's all very much up to the person that's listening. In today's video, I'll be sharing 3 aspects of what, to me, makes a great cover song, and also including some of my personal favorite covers of all time, as well as some more or lesser known great covers. And I also want to say that these aspects have no big study behind them. They're all just my theories for something that, in my view, is completely subjective. Good? Good. So, no more stretching, let's do it! In 1978, Kate Bush released her debut album, The Kick Inside, and in it, there was a monumental song called Wuthering Heights, one of the most fascinating pieces of her entire career. 15 years later, in 1993, Brazilian power metal band Angra releases their debut studio album Angels Cry, and in it, there was a version of Wuthering Heights. Trust me, this sounds terrible on paper, but the result couldn't be more.
It's beautiful.
And therefore, it's my pick to represent Fidelity. As I mentioned before, Angra is a power metal band, which means their music is like. But for their cover, they've slowed down the flashy guitars and recorded a version that is overall very similar to Kate's original. It's very mellow and quite tender, but the forceful guitars are still very present, and the lead singer's performance is much louder than Bush's. And it very much was a great conversion to the style of the band. If you listen to the rest of the album, you'll see that this version is a perfect middle point between their more power songs such as Carry On and the title track Angels Cry, and Bush's version. And even in technical terms, the song is still pretty faithful to the original. It's only 10 seconds longer, and those extra seconds are basically some additional high notes that were added all over the song, because the rest is virtually with the same structure. So in my view, that is the perfect example of fidelity for this video. A cover that as a whole is virtually the same as the original, but with some subtle changes that makes this version distinct enough to the point that it sounds like something brand new. And on the other hand, Avril Lavigne. If you follow my channel, then you are already well aware that I love her. But just because I love her, that doesn't mean I'll love everything she has ever done. Right? What the hell? Anyway, the thing is, her version of Basket Case is not the best, but have you ever heard her version of Chop Suey?
Wake up! Where's the medication on the table?
What the hell?
This is a live recording, and apparently was done only once, considering the quality of the audio we have in YouTube is pretty bad. And I think she was trying to find a middle ground between her style and the original version, and it didn't work at all. It sounds completely clunky and awkward, and you can clearly hear even the crowd was confused by it. Because it's very audible somebody saying "what?" in the middle of that. And to that person, all I can say is, I know how you feel. And most importantly, is she even singing the lyrics? It sounds like she's trying to brush her teeth and sing at the same time. I think everyone is already very familiar with this song, but I will still include it. All Along the Watchtower, originally by Bob Dylan, covered by the Jimi Hendrix Experience. This is pretty much the cover song. So much so that later in his career, Dylan even started playing the song in the style of Jimi live. And I don't blame him, because I'm sorry to piss off every Bob Dylan fan alive, but the Hendrix version blows the original out of the water. Almost everything was improved for this new version. This is probably an unpopular opinion, but I believe the original version of the song has one of the worst performances of Dylan in the harmonica. Every time I hear it, I feel like my ears are being stabbed. But the most important thing has to be the guitar. He is as good in the guitar as John Mayer is good at being John Mayer. Not only that, this version is almost twice as long as the original. And in this expanded time is where Jimi really lets loose in his sacred instruments, transforming the song from a pretty acceptable folk track to a psychedelic masterpiece. And it's fair and square the best example of Renovation. And then we have Comfortably Numb by the Scissor Sisters. Wow, what a way to ruin a song. You know Pink Floyd's original? That almost ethereal song that is just one of the greatest releases in rock history? So, imagine if the Bee Gees were trying to cover it, and not even the style of How Deep Is Your Love, which would be much more acceptable, but in the style of Tragedy, which, surprise surprise, it's actually kinda fitting, because that's what the song is. It's a tragedy. I know, they're trying to reinvent the song to their style. But dear god, they couldn't have massacred the song harder. The cheery disco beat ruins all the sentiment of the song, and it sounds mercilessly fake. It's just an offense. That's why you don't see Duran Duran covering Public Enemy's 911's A Joke. What the fuck? Alright, so this final example I think is the rarest of the bunch, but still, it really strikes gold every time it happens. Johnny Cash is one of the biggest legends of music, and pretty much every song he touches turns gold. But it's pretty much a consensus that the pinnacle of that was in his re-recording of Nine Inch Nails' Hurt. The original version has two theories surrounding its lyrics. The first is that it's about dealing with drug addiction, and the second that revolves around the concept of the album it's featured, where the protagonist of the album attempts to take his own life, survives, and realizes this is pointless, and that he is still able of fixing his mistakes. In Cash's version, while the drugs narrative is still kinda present, Cash takes it to a much more personal level, transforming it in a song about his own life and struggles than about a character. The change of the line "I wear this crown of shit" to "I wear his crown of thorns" to reflect his own religion being the best example of that, making the song feel 1,000 times more personal, especially due to the much simpler instrumentation of this one, compared with the original version, that is full of distortions and fuzz. Even Trent Reznor claimed that the song wasn't his anymore, so that, my friends, is a perfect example of recontextualization for a cover. Heard that, Hilary Duff?
Stop screaming, dude.
I think it's pretty infamous that Hilary Duff's cover of The Who's My Generation is pretty bad. But what really makes this track evolve from just a bad cover to an I envy the death bad is one slight change in the lyrics. In her version, the line is changed to and that is enough to ruin the entire idea of the song. That line was pretty much quintessential to transform the song into a real teenage rebellion anthem. By removing it, you're basically taking away all the intensity of the song, and making it just sound like a generic "parents don't understand" song. To be fair, she only covered the song because it was an idea of her manager, who was a fan of the song, but if he's really a fan of it, I doubt he would have even considered ruining the song that way. And those are the aspects that to me make a great cover song. I kinda don't want to end this video in such a negative note, especially after that Hilary Duff song. Ugh. So before actually ending, I want to show you guys some great cover songs that are lesser known. Enjoy! Is it weird if I say that this is my favorite Sex Pistols song? As I said before, everything Johnny Cash touches turns gold, and this is by far my favorite example of that. If you don't cry listening to this, Congratulations, here is your Sick Monster certificate.
But the feeling's gone, and I just can't get it back.
I consider talking about the song in the Renovation category, because it is 2 minutes longer than the original, and even though I didn't go with it there, I still think everybody needs to check out this song. This might be a hot take, but I prefer this version 1,000 times more than the original. Another great example of recontextualization. Chris Cornell's delivery gives much more emphasis to the lyrics, and with that, you realize how dark these lyrics are. It's more a novelty cover than anything else, but that's why I love it so much. System of a Down needs to cover every single song in history. Imagine them singing Hot Problems. I couldn't decide between those three, so I'm mentioning all of them here. They are the positive highlights of Rush's cover album. This version is completely different of the original, but it's just as beautiful. To me, this is the best cover song of last year. A lot of people like to point out Killing Me Softly, but they often forget this other fantastic piece exists. While it's not better than the original, I'm still a huge fan of this one. To compensate the fact that I talked about a terrible The Who cover song earlier in the video, I'm gonna close the video with a fantastic one.